Okay, good luck with the slow descent into madness.
If you can keep up and you don't mind dying, come along.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
You know what? There's something just extremely uncomfortable about a man your size sniffing a flower.
We're gonna need a new plan.
I'll give you anything you ask for. As long as it's not something I don't want to give.
Get off my bridge.
We love having her on. She's Representative Kelly Fenton on the program. And Representative, I haven't had you on, I don't believe, since the Charlie Kirk shooting. And I'd like to ask you just your overall thoughts. And about an hour ago, I was talking with one of our guests. I'm finding it hard not to delete some people from some of my social media because of the insensitivity. You don't have to like the guy. I'm not telling you what you got to believe in. I don't. But some of the stuff I'm seeing is just over the top for me. Your thoughts?
I absolutely agree. I think what's been eye-opening is is just how humanity, where some of these people living around us and whatnot stand, and that they think it's okay to mock his death. They think it's justifiable. Mm-hmm. It's almost the normalization of what has happened is a travesty and scary to think about.
They call it Turning Point USA, and now they're it's a cute term. They're saying this is a turning point in the USA. Do you believe that? And what I mean by that, we've had other shootings. Kennedy, we had Reagan. Trump was even shot in the ear, and that caused a stir for a couple of weeks, and then we moved on. Is this something that will change the course of America?
I absolutely think. I think we're already seeing it. Look, what's the saying? When a tyrant dies, his reign ends, but when a martyr dies, his reign is just beginning. And I put Charlie Kirk in that. I feel like we're in a revival era. I think this will, we're seeing people go to church for the first time, read a Bible for the first time, thousands and hundreds of thousands showing up to celebrate the life that he lived. People who didn't even know Charlie Kirk are Googling him, and they're finding out exactly who he was, and they're learning what a good person he was in spite of what we've been told by the press. So I absolutely do believe that this has really been eye-opening and has opened the door for a revival of our, not just youth, but even the people my age. What I found is, a lot of people my age are like, I didn't know him. My kids did. But I went and I Googled him. And I listened to his clips. Look, Charlie was all about dialogue. Regardless if he agreed with you or not, he still liked you as a human being, right? He showed you love as a human being. I think we're going to start seeing more and more people turn to Christianity and to God. But I think it's really scary because right now it feels like we are Christianity, conservatism is under attack. And I think this has been manifested by many of the activist politicians. When you hear the word Gestapo, dictator, Nazi, fascist over and over and over again, this is almost predicted. And it's really sad, but it's really scary that there's a subset of the population that is justifying this as okay or normalizing it because they disagreed and didn't like him.
Fair enough, and I appreciate you giving your thoughts on it. The other thing I really couldn't wait to talk to you about is Senator Nicole Mitchell. That is the Senate seat where you're from, right? I mean, that's your neck of the woods, right?
That is the Senate seat where I'm from, and I was on the ballot with her at the time that she ran for Senate here in Woodbury.
So this will be an interesting question because I'm getting different answers from everybody on this. So she gets sentenced here day before yesterday, and basically it was 6 months in jail. She can get out in 4 with the good behavior thing. She's allowed to be on work release because she evidently has a job at a fast food place of some sort. They let her go from where the crime happened to her home jail, if that's the right term. And I think that's okay, too, because I presume that her kids can go see her at the restaurant. I guess I'm looking at it, and I was as mad as anybody about what she had done, but I don't see it happening again. So penalty, in my opinion, I like the penalty. I think it was fair enough. Your thoughts on the Senator Mitchell sentencing?
Well, look, I looked at it from the eyes of the stepmother. and what she said. For the stepmother, this was not enough for what she did to me. She literally terrorized the poor stepmother. I mean, fearful of even staying in her own home, right? So in her eyes, she said yesterday, this was not enough. However, with the kids and whatnot, and doing time and losing a job and whatnot, there have been repercussions for her. But 5 years probation, she got, so that's a pretty long probation. I kind of wonder in the back of my mind, if you would do this to someone who has been in your life since you were a child, what would you do when somebody really makes you angry that you don't know at all? And so I question whether or not something, again, doesn't happen within that 5-year probation. But they did ask for leniency and to decrease it from felony to misdemeanor. That didn't happen. So for the rest of her life, she is a convicted felon, which will, I think, have implications when you are looking for jobs and whatnot. I'm shocked that a fast food restaurant hired her, knowing that maybe she's been working there longer than I thought. But it is surprising that she does have a job. So.
Well, it's kind of my point now. People, the other side of this is if she was a young black man who snuck into the basement, we probably would say this is nowhere near enough. So she's getting something for being a senator. And would that be true? I don't know. But I do know that I think the penalty in that she is no longer a sitting senator. She did serve the country as an officer in the Air Force, I believe it was. She flew planes. I presume that's lost that career for her as well. This thing she did has ruined her life.
Absolutely. And, she asked for this leniency because she still wants to be able to volunteer at her children's school and this and that. You know what? Those are the things that you seriously need to think through before you commit a crime. She thought this through. She dressed in all black. She drove 4 hours. Yeah. I mean, did you not think about this on that drive while you were going to commit this crime at the home of your stepmother?
And she's a lawyer. I mean, it's not like she doesn't understand.
One thing, I was raised by a lawyer. So one thing I learned over the years is that, there are legal ways. You don't like how the estate turned out. There are legal ways. There's a legal process to go through to get what you want. Yet she chose the radical way to go get what she wants. Look, this is Minnesota. I'm shocked she got time at all, because what we see are these people committing these heinous crimes and getting out and being rearrested hours later. So it's a miracle that she got the sentencing that she did get. That's how I look at it, being in Minnesota. I think if we were in another state, it might have been different, but she did get, I think 5 years probation. Yeah. I know that she is here in Ramsey County. She'll be serving it in Ramsey County. I mean, look, I almost think if I were in that situation, I'd rather be in Becker. Ramsey is the last place I'd want to be serving my jail sentencing. So
yeah, well, let me ask you this: when it comes to the legislature itself, I was sitting here watching this whole thing, and I said she kept telling me she had a reason. You're going to hear the reason. You're going to understand. It's going to be and there was a nothing burger there. There was nothing there. She spent 2 more sessions as the senator for Woodbury, knowing what this was. And did the others on her side just get gullible like Al Travis, or did the others on her side say, well, we got to play this out as long as we can?
Look, it was a power grab for votes. Okay. The Senate leadership held on to her. They propped up a now convicted felon simply to pass legislation. To do the right thing would have been really hard for them. But I can tell you that the public would have championed them for doing the right thing. It's easy to do what they did. Republicans had an incident during the same, and we completely took care of it right away. And we
almost too soon. Yeah, almost too soon. They're going to get him booted out before he actually got to his lawyer to get out of jail. I thought they needed to wait They actually got a resignation letter before they kicked him out. But you guys were on that pretty fast.
We were on it, but we were on it very fast. Why? Because we have a set of standards that we set for ourselves. The Democrats should have set the same standards, and they didn't. Because here's the thing. In her hearing yesterday, and as well throughout the trial, we learned that police report was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And in there, she admitted guilt. She said, I know I did something wrong. It was a very easy report to read. And the Democrats should have looked at that and taken and done the hard thing and probably set her free. But the reality is they would not have had the votes to pass the legislation, and they propped her up for a power grab. And I think that will come back, will come back to haunt them in this next election cycle.
That is a great take. Very interesting. I got to go to break. When we come back, special session, not a special session? We'll talk about it with Representative Kelly Fenton on the Al Travis Show.
Hey, Brian, what do you call a lobbyist with a sense of humor?
Me?
Close. Momentum advocacy.
We help clients get real results at the Capitol with strategy, relationships, and just enough charm to make it fun.
From policy wins to media spots, we've got your back.
Nonprofits, businesses, coalitions, we've helped them all.
And we do it with nearly 90 years of combined experience.
Momentum advocacy.
As always, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more about our team at momentum-advocacy.com.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
Don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on the Al Travis Show.
We've got a Representative Kelly Fenton on the program with us. Representative, right after the shooting at the Annunciation Church, we heard very quickly that there was going to be a special session. The governor, we're going to call this thing. We're going to get some gun stuff done. Going to get her done. And very quickly, a lot of people got to say, wait, the math isn't here. Not just me. The Republicans, the guys on the left, people said this doesn't work. And yet, well, I'm going to do it. We're going to make it happen. And now in the paper this week, it's like, well, maybe we won't call this special session after all. I get it. The numbers weren't there. How bad does it hurt someone when you're the leader of the state and you get so high and mighty, you're going to do this, we're going to do this no matter what, and it doesn't happen? Does it hurt him politically in the long run? Will people forget this? Does his side get mad?
It absolutely makes him a liar, basically. Okay. Look, he doesn't, if you look, well, there's a couple things going on, but the reality is right now, right now you do, but in general, he doesn't really need one single Republican vote to pass gun control if he really wanted to. And they had a period there where they didn't need one single Republican vote to pass any type of gun laws, gun control included. And they did pass some of the red flag laws and that he championed that. But look what he said right after. It's time to get serious now. I thought when they passed the red flag laws that they were serious then, but obviously the laws in place, and we have some of the strictest laws across the country in place right now, but yet they have failed. So the red flag laws clearly failed. So it's time to get serious, he said. Look, the bottom line is he needs the outstate Democrat members to vote for this as well. And the outstate Democrat members usually are pro Second Amendment. That's the one area where they may side with Republicans. So the numbers aren't there because he doesn't have the support of all of the Democrat members as well. Now in the Senate, without having Senator Mitchell there, there's a tie. So, the governor also spent several years not having to negotiate at all and isn't great at negotiating. And so here he's in a situation where if he wants to get something done, he needs to negotiate, and he can't even do that to get this done as well. If a special session were to be called for gun control, I'd also like to see fraud prevention legislation as part of that as well. And I'm, so we'll see. There are things that he doesn't want to happen that can happen if he gets in that situation. So he's in a spot where it's a rock in a hard place right now.
Yeah. Do you think Representative Demuth the speaker would agree to that? She would like to offer that up, the fraud stuff, but he's not going to go for that. He opens that Pandora's box up and let it be more than just one subject and already agreed upon terms. I got to imagine if the law isn't written out word for word, this isn't going anywhere. He doesn't open that Pandora's box, because then you're going to have people say, well, then mental health I want on. And we're going to open up a new session.
That is absolutely the problem, the predicament he's in. Republicans have the upper hand over him right now because there are so many issues that are dragging the Democrats down, the winning issues for Republicans that they can bring into this special session. He doesn't want Pandora's box to be open, nor can he afford it going into the next election. And so I think that we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the special election come November 4th. And if he decides to see how the lay of the land falls there, and then maybe call one after the 4th. But make no mistake, if I am Republican leadership going into this, I am asking for a lot of other things, fraud prevention legislation being one of them.
Well, on that same line then, special session or not, the state's had some issues, obviously, with fraud, with the education numbers going down. Crime seems to be rampant, especially in Minneapolis. Does this governor have a shot at a third term in a state that's never done it before?
Look, right now, if I'm looking at the latest polling that's come out with him, I'd say not really. He's at a net zero. And the people that are on the fence and really where they're falling off from him are the independents. And in the state of Minnesota, you need the independents they are the swing voters. They're the ones that swing it, however it turns out. You need the independents on your side. Not only is he losing Democrat voters, he's losing independents. And part of his problem as well is that the socialist wing of the Democrat Party has taken a stronghold, and he can't control it. He's losing control, which puts him in a very vulnerable position. He's very vulnerable running for a third term.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, and I'm going to get you back on here. We'll talk some more analysis as we go along, because it's going to be an interesting year. Representative Fenton, thanks for coming on the program. I really do appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You as well.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion,